Hello everyone, and welcome back to Make Believe, where we're playing the house in Fata Morgana. Last time we had to talk about the delivery of the package, and there was a painting in there that I don't think it was the other story. They had an argument which Michel kept pointing out how they're not equals, and he even went to talk to the other guy outside, which I did not even know existed, to send a letter to his mom trying to find out what was a mistake that Giselle did. So here we go. And shortly thereafter, on a bone-chilling night, everything came crashing down. The rift between us grew deeper, and the wall between us impossibly high. When I lay bare the scars in her chest and mercilessly plunged my knife into them. I'm sorry, what? Am I missing something here? Yeah, like the message, the response arrived. Yeah. What? Oh, we're back to her point of view. How did we get to this point? Ugh, I hate everything. My spirits were getting darker and darker, like they were slowly sinking into a deep morass. I had been at the mansion for a month, and every day since felt twice as long as it should have. I had been optimistic, at first, at least. I'd even have a little hope that me and Michelle could get along together. Oh, silly me. But it hadn't taken long for that hope to be shattered, and a cheer locked away inside me. We lived in the same house, but we never spoke anymore. On the few occasions we did cross paths, he just gave me a cold glare and nothing more. Scorn and suspicion in his eyes. Whenever he looked at me like that, it felt as though my throat was being constricted, like I was deep underwater and running out of air. Like my very presence in the world was a crime. I never could have imagined just how agonizing constant rejection was. I started despising others, despising myself even, despising the whole world. Convinced there was no one who could set me free, I considered running away from everything rather than live like this another day. But I would have done so long ago if that were actually an option. If they found out I had fled, that I had acted outside their wishes, my mom and sister would pay. I had succeeded in allowing my sister to get married and my mom to live comfortably, but in exchange, they're holding them hostage against me. I had given them happiness. I couldn't take that away from them again, not after what I had to go through to do it. No, cut that out. Getting way too depressing here, Giselle. Pull yourself together, girl. That's not who you are. Be positive. The negative, the negativity didn't only come from my interactions with Michelle either. No, there seemed to be some kind of terrible presence within the mission that twisted people's hearts. Is this the so-called Morgana? The mansion was, in fact, a bit of a local legend, which I had been informed about before being sent here. People claimed it was cursed, and that an evil witch had lived in it for many, years. Michel joked that he was the witch, but I didn't believe him. Not usually one to believe in magic or curses at all, but being here so long, can't help but wonder. Anyway, things can go on like this. If I was to remain in this house, the situation needed to improve by like a lot. I was going to lose my mind if things kept up as they were. I was ready to give up once, but I'm going to try closing the distance between us once more. If I could get him to open up even the tiniest bit, then maybe that would make living here just a little easier, you know? I wasn't going to try to make us best friend or anything like that. Just repair our relationship enough that being around each other wasn't torturous. Got my work cut out for me. How do I even begin that conversation? Heck, what is that conversation even going to be about? Maybe I should hold off. Do it another day, you know? No. I've made up my mind to do this, so I should get to it quickly. The longer I wait, the worse things are gonna get. Yes, that reminds me of the Jacobo and his wife. How he waited how he waited so long, and because of that, they were not able to make amends. If he had just gone to her and talked to her up front since early on, things would not have become so drastic. But instead, he used Maria as the middleman and just kept getting worse. And eventually, there won't be any fixing. There won't be any fixing anything. Exactly, just like I said of the other story. We need to talk. We need to be in the same room for more than 10 seconds. And we need to get to know each other. He needs to know that he's not the reason I have something to hide. I I'm not sure that's what he thinks, but okay. Okay, let's do this. Here goes nothing. I made my way to Michel's chambers, which he had told me to stay away from. Good start. Disobeying his one rule. My stride was slow and ponderous, but at the very least, I did my best to keep some semblance of a smile on my face. This is one time where I'd really like to have someone to give me a little nudge. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Pardon, master? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Master? I guess he's not here. The door wasn't locked. And you know what that means. Moments like this is where it gets worrisome. Like the music even stopped and everything. What are we gonna see inside? As was the rest of the house, his room was shrouded in darkness. The only light came from the candle in my hand. Master? Are you there, master? I guess I missed him. Probably best if I don't stick around for long. He's already got a less than stellar impression of me. This certainly wouldn't help. I don't want to imagine what will happen if he thinks I've been snooping through his room. Yeah, I should get out of here. Spun around on my heels, taking a step towards the door when I caught sight of an object draped in a black sheet. I knew I had to get out of there as quickly as possible, but curiosity got the best of me, and I was intrigued by that object. Something he kept hidden in a room I was forbidden to enter. Maybe it was a clue to discovering Michel's secrets. You know what they say, curiosity killed the cat. I reached my hand down towards the object, knowing good and well that I shouldn't. Was it because I wanted to learn more about him? Was it because I wanted to tear down the veil he hid behind? Or was it the whispers of the witch? Oh? Is that the... Oh, I guess that's an old painting that he was talking about. Like, at least not the painting of that woman. Maybe this is the painting of that woman that he meant. What do we have here? I pulled off the sheet, revealing a framed painting of what appeared to be a noble woman with porcelain white skin. Now, it's kind of dark, so you can't really tell. I wonder if this is white hair. Like, it seems a lighter tone down here, but up here it's kind of hard to tell in this part. What stood out about her, though, was the woman's hair was as pale as her skin. Bingo! And then... yeah. Well, what is this here? Did the heat rip off from the painting or something? What? I noticed something else. Wide gashes ravaged the canvas. Oh, I'm good. I am understanding here the situation here. Damaging her face beyond repair. What the... I imagine it had once been a painting of a beautiful woman, but there was hardly a trace of that left. The only feeling it inspired anymore was a deep chill. This damage was not accidental. It was deliberate, angry, and the contempt emanating from within the frame was stifling. Rifling? Thick, suffocating blackness seeped into me. Why would anyone... She was surely a most beautiful woman. Angelic even. A storm of questions assaulted me. Who was she? Why had her face been carved out? Why had the painting been covered? What had happened? Who could have... There's only one person who could have done this. Michel. Why on earth... You saw it, didn't you? You saw the painting, didn't you? You entered my room without permission, and you saw the painting, didn't you? Any chance of reconciliation? It's over. Angelic, you say? There's nothing angelic about that damn woman. I scrambled to make some excuse, but nothing would come out of my mouth, and the music's getting louder and louder. All I could do was tremble. Oh. Well then. Remember that talk? Let's go. Where was it? In the beginning of the episode. Here. When I lay bare the scars in her chest and mercilessly plunged my knife into them. Are we about to get that? Why did you enter my chambers? What were you looking for? Answer me. Uh, I mean, I get that she's in bad position, but the best she can do is tell the truth. Like, she was looking for him, and as she was about to leave, she got sight of that and got curious. My mouth wouldn't move properly. Also understandable. When you have somebody with that piercing gaze with a knife to your throat, makes sense that you would freeze up. I couldn't make my voice come out. It was like I wasn't even in my own body anymore. The wisps of air that were drawn to my lung were expelled as a hoarse gasp. My breaths were shallow and rapid. I was inhaling, but I wasn't getting any air. I was terrified. Terrified. Terrified, terrified, terrified. Of his eyes, of his voice, of his feelings, of the knife he was holding up to me, of the terrible past I was chained to. The man's voice, the man's very flesh, terrified me. What were you trying to find, and what were you planning to do with it? Answer me. Another thing you refuse to tell me then? No, I'm trying. Nothing's coming out of my mouth though. Everything is so bright. I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. That's fine though. You don't have to tell me. I have a pretty good idea. An idea? What? What do you mean? Money's what brought you to the Bollinger estate. And it's what brought you to me too. There are countless people who'd love to see the house fall. And the noble family fears nothing more than disrepute. Huh? You were, I presume, approached by someone scheming the Bollinger's downfall. No. And as it just so happens, the Bollingers have a very unfortunate secret, one they're quite desperate to keep under wraps. Me. Someone suspected I might still be alive, so they sent you to dig up information about me. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family. Michel, who made a pact with the devil. Who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive. You sweet-talked your way into the house, and into information about me and my present situation. And you meant to trade that information for money. I bet whoever it was put quite a handsome price on it too. Or maybe the one plotting to ruin the Bollinger family is you. No, that's not true. Then enlighten me. Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you harm in any way. Then tell me. That's not the reason you wormed your way into the Bollinger estate. And that's not what you're doing here. Then tell me what it is. Tell me why you came to this mansion. You want me to tell you about that? No way. That's asking way too much. You do realize that if you don't say that, you're likely gonna be dying here, right, Giselle? Tell me. I swear, I haven't done anything wrong to you. Anything to wrong you. I simply wanted to make our life together a little more comfortable. To bring some warmth to this frigid relationship we have. And the music building up too? That's the only reason I want to find out more about you. I bet she's not saying any of that. I must assume I'm right, Giselle. Ah, I must tell him this is wrong. I must tell him I mean no harm. But I can't say anything. A merchant's daughter became an abigail at a noble house. Could you come up with a more obvious lie? Uh, Your your father's the one who... Wait, how does he know that I'm from a merchant family? He looked perplexed. I may be in prison in this house, not free to move about as I please, but I have my ways. I know everything. Everything. And he knows about that too. Oh yes, I do know. Ooh, he was able to read her. Now at least. Please, don't. In your quest for money. Don't say it. What was it? You slept with my father. A part of me thought that would be the case. And that's why the mother sent her over here. In that moment, Michel plunged his knife into my heart. Okay, this might be more metaphorical that they're saying here, and not literal. As he spoke those words, he carved through my chest with those words, causing me to completely lose control of myself. In a panic frenzy, and probably screaming all the way, I knocked the man aside and ran and ran and ran. I could hear a clap of thunder in the distance. Oh, how I wish the bolt of lightning would come crashing down upon me. Maybe if God burned my tainted flesh with a divine thunderbolt, he would get rid of some of the filth. But the jagged streaks of lightning cascading across the dark clouds did not strike me, only creating restless grumbles in the sky. Oh, okay. When she was saying that she ran, I was wondering if she was still inside the mansion. But her talking about getting struck by lightning was weird. There we go. She ran outside. Why? I knew that if I fled that mansion, I would likely be causing trouble for my mom and sister. But I was helpless to stop myself. All I could do was run from all that threatened me with no regard for the consequences. Before long, small droplets of rain began falling, which soon grew heavy enough to penetrate the forest canopy and reach the ground where I stood. The downpour drowned out my tears and my cries. Because I had rushed from the mansion without even putting on a cloak, each cold winter droplet stung bitterly against my flesh. But the bite of the rain was like a warm embrace compared to what I'd been through before. Michel had spoken the truth. As much as I wanted to deny it, to avert my eyes, reality was forever engraved in this body. And that's why she was talking about she's having a filthy body and everything. No, I don't want to think about it. But I had no say in the matter. Get out of my head! Oh? Oh, I guess this is the flashback of, and I'm guessing Antonin is his father. Over here, Giselle. Uh, okay. May I ask why you asked me here so late at night, master? Oh, I just wanted to have a little chat. Care for some wine? Come closer. I'll pour you a glass. I had this wine imported from up north. They use very hard water, and like it rather tart, and so it leaves quite less impression on your tongue. And yet, it goes down so easily. Just can't seem to stop. What do you say? Have a sip. Or does your expertise as a trader allow you to evaluate a wine's quality while tasting it? No, but, please, Giselle, don't trample all over my good graces. Very well, then. I'll have a sip, master, but no more. Have you ever considered growing out your hair? Having long hair made it difficult to do my job. You're not a merchant anymore, though. You deserve to look like the woman you truly are. I have no doubt longer hair would accentuate your natural beauty. It's a gorgeous shade of black, so deep a man could get lost in it for years. You would contrast the color of your skin fabulously. Highlight your eyes, your cheekbones, your nape, your shoulders, and your chest. I should get going now. Oh, but we're not done talking yet. I would not want a lack of sleep to interfere with my ability to work tomorrow. Thank you very much for the wine. It was delicious. No need to be so cold-hearted now. From the moment I first laid eyes on Master. And yeah, the way she was regretting and like thinking, just the words were so cursed. Like you can tell that she did not like what happened. So it makes sense that he was forcing himself onto her. But that's enough fooling around for one night. Now, don't be afraid. I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. I simply want to express my love. Let go of me. I only came here to work. Nothing more. The first time I saw you, I thought it would be a tragic waste to leave you to wither away working at some little street-side shop. Stop. You can't tell me you didn't know a merchant girl had no place in a house like this, even as a servant. There's only one reason you would be allowed here. No, I swear it. It never even crossed my mind. It would seem you're even more innocent than you look. But you figure it all out by now, haven't you? No, let go of me. Stop this. Your voice down. Eat. Do not shout, Giselle. If anyone were to find out about it, you would be the one shouldering the consequence, not me. But you're our maid, and I am the master of the house. Oof. And having Michelle saying those exact lines must have triggered this trauma in her. Whose word do you think holds more weight? I think he even said that second line too. Don't worry, I won't do anything to hurt you. I promise your family will be exceptionally well taken care of. Your mother will have the comfortable life you wanted for her. But you know what will happen if you raise a fuss and make a fool of yourself. Not only will your family not get any of our money, and not only will your sister not get to marry, you will all spend the rest of your lives streets. How could you? So cruel. This is This is blackmail. Blackmail? Poor merchant's daughter. You don't know much about trade, do you? Then let me give you a little lesson about market value. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap. Understand? Now, let me see that beautiful body of yours. And, and I guess she folded. He was an older man, so I hadn't expected him to be very strong. But I couldn't break free of his grip, and I found myself entirely at his mercy. Beneath the gaudy outfits lay a hungry beast, and I was seeing the creature's true colors for the first time that day. The aging man ran his disgusting, blubbery tongue across my exposed skin. Everything he placed his hand upon withered away. Every piece of flesh he pressed his lips against putrefied, rotted, decayed, rankled. I trembled in revulsion, at which the man laughed, seemingly interpreting it as something else. I wonder what kind of place hell was. If hell's wardens only flayed and carved their prisoners, I would have preferred that instead. I would have rather been sliced into tiny little chunks and cast into the hellfire. I would have chosen eternal torment over being touched by this man another second. But I didn't get to choose my hell. Eventually, the man forced open the gates I had been holding fast and spread his festering death inside me. What a way to describe that! Listen to me, Giselle. It is in both of our best interests to keep this between the two of us. If you can do that, I'll continue to do good by you and your family. Oh, don't look at me like that, please. I'm thrilled to have you here in this house, Giselle. She has long since lost her mind. After all, it's torture just being in the same room. And my sons, they hardly ever come home. But you, Giselle, you give color to my dull life. You make it exciting. Now go on back to your room. I'll be waiting here at the same time next week. Don't keep me waiting. I couldn't escape from that man's grasp. Not when he used my family against me. Some weeks, I would just not go to his chambers, my one feeble means of resistance. But when I did that, he would send another bigayo to come find me the next day. I couldn't ignore his summons when he got other people involved. And then, when the two of us were alone, the mask would come off and he would discipline me for not showing up before taking care of his usual business. On good days, he would leave bruises in inconspicuous places, my abdomen, my inner thigh, but he went as far as carving a word into my skin with a knife. Ah, harlot. And just imagine carving a word into someone's skin with a knife, just... That was why I was afraid of knives. And that also explains why she was freezing up so much and couldn't say anything when Michel was threatening her with a knife. That was why I was afraid of men shouting. Michel was doing. I wasn't even sure what to regret anymore. I was in far too deep. There was no turning back the clock. I even considered taking my own life on more than one occasion. But every time the thought crossed my mind, happy memories came with it. Back when it was just the three of us girls and the shop. Life may not have been easy, but it was never dull either. I didn't want to end my life at its absolutely lowest point. I wanted, if just temporarily, to go back to the way things were back then. That objective was the only thing that allowed me to keep going. When I was in his presence, I tried to convince myself I was merely an object. I had no emotions, so he wouldn't hurt me. I was merely a vessel, construct of flesh and bones. His hands couldn't reach my heart, for it was not connected to my body. Doing that made it a little easier to bear, but the reality was, it was impossible to completely sever my heart from my body. Liddy, I'm guessing that's Michel's mother? You're Giselle, aren't you? One day, the mistress of the state stopped me in the halls. She had, supposedly, once been quite beautiful, but now she was only haggard and bony, her skin dry, her eyes sunken, her hair faded and stripped off its luster, her head down, her cracked lips barely moving as she spoke. Age didn't appear to be the only thing working its merciless magic on her either. There seemed to be something eating away at her from the inside too. Something that could burst at the lightest touch. Yes, I am Giselle. There's something I can do for you, madam? The mistress rarely ever left her chambers, you see. I had been told it had been years since she attended family supper. So, what would bring her to come looking for someone like me? You. Uh, what? I wasn't sure I wanted to know the answer. You're having relationships with my husband, aren't you? You are, aren't you? Uh, madam. Ah, ah, ah! You, you wretched creature! She was telling the truth! One of my trusty maids caught a glimpse of you through a crack in the door. She saw you with him! You filthy rat! You seduce my husband! Ah, you devil! You conniving witch! You don't get it, do you? You don't realize how grievous your sin is, do you? Someone, anyone, restrain this girl. She's a demon, a devil. Tie her up and hand her off to the clergy. Ah, ah, no, that won't be enough. A witch, you have to burn her bones, scatter the ashes, or she'll just come back to life. Yes, yes, execute her. Kill this woman. Burn the witch. Seize the piece she's stolen from me. And Giselle just keeping quiet. Cursed! It's cursed! Ah! Ah! Oh! This house is cursed! Not only has it taken away my daughter, it is trying to take away my husband too! Ah! Oh God! Please shine thy cleansing light upon this house. I knew it would be a waste of breath trying to talk to her. She was not of a sound mind. There was madness in her eyes. I didn't even have to make a fuss about it. It happened all on its own. If there was no way around it, then I should have just done it myself after the first time. Yeah, because she gave up and followed his instruction, she became an accomplice. And of course, she would be the one taking the fall. I didn't have the energy to argue with her, or to cry, or to shout. Before long, a crowd began to form around me and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch, but much to my surprise, he stepped in. With an embarrassed look on his face, he tried to settle his wife down and convince her to not have me executed. Maybe he did have a heart after all, deep inside, like way deep. Or maybe he just wanted to save face. Yeah, that seems more like it. Regardless, instead of being burned at the stake, it was decided that I would be sent away to some remote forest. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, but it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She had. Oh, hold up. It started going automatic again. They said she had returned to life after being executed and now skulked about in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner. And so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. I hope my mom and sister are alright. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. Just a silent coachman and his single, solid passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again, ever cross the Grand Pont again. It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I had finally escaped from that house. I had finally escaped from that man. This sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything else I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living in the house where I was to reside. The Bollinger's youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he had been sent to the cursed mansion, only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter only made a single request, that I looked after him and not ask any questions. You kind of failed the second part, just saying. Hmm. So I'm not just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I looked after whoever's at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family? I don't have much say in the matter either way, I suppose. Hmm. The carriage rattled and shook as it traversed the stony path, and bouncing around inside it, I resolved to take back my life, the peace I had once known, the cheerfulness I had lost, and to do so I would forget. Lock away my memories, which Michelle wanted to know. Bury every terrible thing that had happened to me. And Michelle wanted to dig that up. Cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. I have no idea who I'm going to find there, but they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me, right? I'll greet them with a smile and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured, since the both of us had been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common too. And so, I would forget it all and get my life back. Get my smile back. That was everything that led up to me arriving at the mansion. All the ones I never wanted to open again. I think we're gonna end it here, you know? We finally got her story. Or crime, as it's put there. We finally learned what is the teensy tiny mistake that she made. Which was mostly Michelle's father was just entranced by her and forced his hand on her. As he was basically taking her family hostage. And when the wife found out, of course, she was the one to take the fall. But that trauma stayed with her. And because she was clearly hiding something, Michelle was wanting to figure out what it was. And being the master while she was a servant, he saw no reason why she wouldn't tell him. And so it started to cause a conflict between them. And with persecution and some chopped information that he had, it just led things getting worse and worse. And now she's in the middle of the forest in tears and everything. Like, surely it would have worked better if she had the strength and the courage to tell him the story and hope he believed her. But of course, it's easier said than done. Talking about your trauma to some, like opening up and telling and revealing your trauma to someone related to the person that caused the trauma, no less. Yeah, it certainly isn't easy. So I can't help but wonder how things are gonna go from here. But that is until later. So with that being said, see you next time. Bye.